This episode is brought to you by the Arvada Center. Getting Away with Murder has never been this much fun. A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder is a musical comedy about just how far one poor clerk named Monty will go to claim his inheritance. Running March 28th through May 11th at the Arvada Center, you can get your tickets now for this Tony Award-winning musical. Just go to arvadacenter.org. That's arvadacenter.org. This episode is brought to you by the Port Aransas Chamber of Commerce. Just off the Texas coast sits a unique beach town marked with salty vibes and sun-soaked memories. Port Aransas is a place where family traditions unfold naturally, and beauty lies both in island views and the unhurried moments between adventures. One visit and you'll see why so many have anchored their traditions to the island way of life. Trade mountain peaks for 18 miles of uninterrupted shoreline and start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Go to visitportaransas.com and plan your visit. That's visitportaransas.com.
Today on CityCast Denver, the Merc is no more. One of Denver's oldest and most beloved bastions of alternative arts and culture is closing after 50 years. So we're talking about what, if anything, will change under the new operators, other than the name. Plus, pharmacies big and small are closing across the metro area, and all our other wins and fails of the week. Today is Friday, March 14th. I'm Paul Caroli, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where they already shot the next season of Love is Blind, premiering this fall, so I guess it's finally time for me to figure out how that show works.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, you like it?
I like it more than The Bachelor. It feels more authentic to me. But at the same time, I have hot takes about Love is Blind.
Paolo, hello. Give us them.
I don't think the premise is truly blind yet.
Why?
I think they need to run vocal.
Yeah, I was like, people have hot voices.
Yeah, people have hot voices. All of them are hot. They need to cast truly ugly people.
More
I
uggos,
100%
more
agree.
uggos.
I watched the show for 10 minutes last night, tried to understand it, and I was like, no one's going to be disappointed. At the altar, like, oh my God, they're all hot. Surprise, surprise.
Whoa.
There was some drama a couple days ago because, spoiler alert, skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. Somebody left another person at the altar because they are like anti-Black Lives Matter, anti-vaccine, and anti-LGBTQ, which I found to be quite refreshing because in The Bachelor, they're just like, oh, you have like a past of blackface. I'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
True. Except the whole thing, she was like, I still love you so much.
True.
I was like,
I mean,
okay.
you got to say it for the camera.
True.
Why didn't that come up in the pod? I feel like they should have talked about that stuff. It's important stuff to talk about.
In their podcast?
No, in the pod.
No,
like
in
the
literal,
Love
the
is
literal
Blind.
pod.
Their pod. They call them pod. I don't know this show. I'm sorry, everyone. I
pods
promised to figure it out before it
They're
premieres.
very moody decorated. Like they've got, from what I've watched, they usually have like a very fluffy kind of shaggy carpet. I don't know. I'd be feeling the vibes in there for sure. It
I
doesn't
wonder
matter.
where they filmed here.
Yeah.
I heard they were spotted.
A warehouse?
Love is Blind crew spotted at Epic Brewing before it closed.
Epic!
So they get a little, Anyway, it's Friday. We're doing our Friday news roundup. My favorite show of the week. We're here at the beautiful 5280 Magazine Studios in lovely downtown Denver. The weather is sparkling outside.
And we're inside.
And we're inside. Thank you for clarifying. I would hate for the listener to think we were outside.
No wind
at
noises
risk
here.
of the elements. Our host, Bree Davies, is out all week and out today. In her place, I'm joined by producer Olivia Jewel Love.
Hey, B team.
Hey, Olivia.
Hey.
And we have a great guest today. He's one of my favorite reporters in town, currently a neighborhood reporter for Denverite, Paolo Shalceda. Welcome to CityCast Denver.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
C-team.
I don't like this. You two are the A-team today. And okay, so Paolo, here's what I want to ask you about. You said, when I emailed you and I said, you got to come on the show and talk to us about these stories, you said, I might be a little late because I'm riding the 15. Give us the Colfax update. People want to know.
Lots of construction.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are pissed because when I got onto the 15, I saw a car immediately swerve to the left of it, try to go around it, almost hit a motorcyclist, and they started honking at each other. And I was just about to board the bus, frozen in fear.
Wait, do motorcycles have horns? Is this something I've been missing my whole life?
Yeah. I don't know where they are.
On there.
I don't know where they are on the vehicle, but
is it like on a bike, the little bell?
But
sorry.
How are you feeling about Colfax, Paolo? You live nearby. Are you bothered by this?
I love Colfax. I also love public transit. So I'm probably a little less bothered by some of the people I interview about Colfax. I think BRT is going to be good because, quite frankly, I think the 15 experience is hit or miss. I often miss the bus.
Diplomatic.
I often have to run to get the bus. And yesterday I was at an event where Mayor Johnson was saying the 15 will come every 4 minutes under BRT. Which will be great. You know, I used to live in D.C. That was my experience with the bus and the train in D.C. So I would like more frequent buses, and I think I would take it a lot more if I didn't have to like plan my morning around it.
Right. Yeah. It's just the getting there, like the lasting, the 18 months for that dream to come true.
Yeah. On that note, I think I am worried about the businesses. Like I frequent all the businesses there. I haven't personally seen I guess on my weekly trivia nights at Fat Sully's, it's been a little quieter. There haven't been many teams, which you would think would make me win more, but I haven't won.
Damn. The smart ones are still showing up.
Yeah. Because they're riding public transit. They're smart.
Weird correlation there.
All right. Let's get into the show a little bit. I've got a couple of pieces of business before we hit our top story. Number one, friend of the show and regular guest, stand-up comedian Josh Emerson, is starring in a new short film that the MCA is sponsoring a screening for at the Holiday Theater. It's called Finding the Funny, and I'll be moderating a discussion afterwards with Joshua and the filmmaker Gabriel. But a couple of cool guys. Should be a fun time, and tickets are very cheap. $6.55, March 25th at 7 p.m. We're going to put the link to the Eventbrite in the show notes. Come out. Have a good time.
Sweet.
Say hi.
Were you included in that couple of cool guys?
It's going to be 3 cool guys.
Nice.
3 cool guys.
That's awesome. Congrats, Josh.
And then number 2, dog poop. You heard earlier this week our CEO David Plotz talk about how he thinks Denver has a dog poop problem bigger than any other city that he's seen. So we're on the case. We're digging in. We're getting our hands dirty.
We're getting the scoop.
I'm glad somebody is.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, so I want to hear from listeners. Like, he just said he took a walk in Rhino and he said that's what he noticed. So, like, what have you noticed? You know your neighborhood better than anyone. Tell us, does Denver have a dog poop problem? What are your experiences? Tell us your stories. And we're going to do our own research, try to find some data on this, but we'll see. The dog poop hotline is open. Call in, leave us a message, your name and neighborhood, 720-500-5418. Again, 720-500-5418.
The poop scoop hotline.
The poop scoop hotline? The pooper scooper hotline?
The poop scoop, because you've got the scoop on poop.
Oh yeah, hit us up on the poop scoop hotline. Give us the scoop.
Hit them up, especially if you don't pick up your dog's poop.
Yeah, let us know.
Yes.
You can call in anonymous. Don't say your name. It's fine.
Yeah, you're allowed.
We will have your phone number. So
we won't share it.
We won't share it.
Yeah, you can trust us. All right, let's get to our top story. I've been dying to talk about this, and it's so sad that our host Bree Davies is out for this topic because this is a place that's near and dear to her heart. I'm sure we'll be talking about it again when she gets back. But, Paolo, you've been reporting on this. The top story this week is the Merc is no more. 4 years after buying the iconic Mercury Cafe and 6 months after putting it up for sale, the old Denver savior, Danny Newman, has reached a deal to lease the building that is still for now the Mercury Cafe. That means a 50-year tradition of counterculture and community started by former owner Marilyn McGinnity is over, or is it?
I mean, it is, in a way. It's going to be the Mercury Cafe until the end of the month. But once the month is over, I believe that they're committing to the Pearl. They're going to open the Pearl.
New name, new concept.
New name, new business, new LLC. It is not the Mercury Cafe. The Mercury Cafe, as we know, is over at the end of the month. And at the end of the month, the Pearl is coming in.
Right. Intrigue. So many things, so many pieces of this. I mean, it's such a long story. Paolo, you've been reporting on the Mercury Cafe in the last few years of turmoil. I mean, the neighborhood's had some rough times. I mean, what's the... Catch people up if this is the first time they're hearing about the troubles at the Mercury Cafe.
Sure. So I think the troubles pretty much started when the pandemic started. Marilyn McGinnity was ready to retire, so she started looking around. It took about a year for her to find a buyer, but she was soliciting offers, hearing from different groups. You know, I think a nonprofit at one point came in and said, we'd love to turn it into a nonprofit.
Some vulture developers hoping to turn it into high rises.
Yeah.
I mean, that land is valuable.
She didn't say any developers, but I'm sure she didn't want to. Well, it's Maryland. She probably would have said something bad about them. So
She 100% would have.
maybe she just didn't want to talk about the disgusting developers in her head.
Danny told me about one. I talked to Danny yesterday, and he told me when he put it up for sale 6 months ago, he said he got some offers from developers that he was not interested in at all, and including one that wanted to turn it into a golf simulator. Like
As if we don't have enough?
I know.
Jesus. This is Danny Newman.
Danny Newman, correct, yeah. And it's like, yeah.
What's one more?
I mean, they're making money. They must be making money.
I don't see how
Do
they're
people
making
like
money.
golf that much? I'm sorry, is that unpopular?
These places are
Jesus.
packed. The golf theme bars everywhere.
I do get a lot
Anyway.
of press releases from Holy Moly.
Oh, so do I.
So Danny said no to the golf simulator, and he said yes to this new group. Who is this new group?
They are the owners of Pearl Divers, which is a Capitol Hill bar, Sapphic Focus, Speak Tiki Dive Bar. And I got a couple emails asking, what is Speak Tiki? It's a speakeasy tiki bar hybrid. And surely it has to be the first in the country, right?
Oh, for sure.
Groundbreaking.
But I do hear that they are going to be dropping the tiki bar theme for the Pearl. So Merc Cafe will not become a tiki bar, rest assured. I hear. Not confirmed.
Yeah, some will be disappointed, some will be thrilled. So their names are Ashley, Cassidy, and Dom Garcia. Olivia, I know you actually caught up with them last night. What's the vibe?
Yeah, so they're really excited to jump into this new space, and I was curious going in because I was like, I feel like you guys just opened up this Pearl Divers place, and
December.
yeah, it's brand new, and I was like, this seems like, was this kind of like a hard decision to move into this new spot? And they were like, actually not at all. They were like, this was just like perfect for us because I guess they were actually subletting the place in Pearl Divers.
Yeah, it's inside your mom's house.
Right. And they were like, immediately we realized we didn't have enough space. They were like, it just got packed out so quick with all the stuff we were planning.
That's what I've heard. I've heard they've been slammed every weekend.
Yeah. So also like,
in friggin' January and February when every other bar is quiet.
Right. And so like, the thing that I was really curious about with this, because at Pearl Divers, they were like, we're a Sapphic focused bar, which like for people who might not know, that's like a lesbian focused bar.
And that is something that people in the reporting around the Merc takeover, people have been saying like, oh, it's going to become a lesbian bar.
Right. And I was super curious about that because from what I understand, the Merc has been a place for everyone. Just kind of, there's the swing nights, Lindy Hop nights, poetry,
jazz.
Yeah, there's.
It's certainly welcoming to the LGBTQ community.
But I think it's just kind of a place for everyone. Mm-hmm. So I was, talking to them. I'm like, I know in your past it's been Sapphic focused. Is that what this is? Is this a lesbian bar? And they were like, we're going to have Sapphic focused events. We're going to have that stuff, of course, but this is still, we want to keep that vibe of the Merc open. We still want it to be a place for everyone. We're keeping all the same events the Merc still had. We're still having those dance nights. We're still having those open mics, and we still want it to be that like neighborhood hangout for everyone. So I thought that was cool. And also it sounded like they were doing some stuff because they were also like, we really want to restore it to like Maryland's kind of OG vision, which I liked. So like some of the things they said they were doing was like, they were like, the murals in there she has, they were like, we're kind of they have like an idea for like a transformative thing with the murals. They're like, they're going to have like some of her murals and then they're going to like transform them and like turn them like literally have it like transform into a pearl mural. So like it'll like kind of be symbolic of the transformation. I thought it was cool. And like they're not going to do that to all of them. Some of them are going to stay. And like I guess they're kind of reviving the cafe and stuff. They're going to have longer hours. They're going to be open at like 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. starting in April. That has been an issue with the Merc.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's like some hours problems of like they don't stay open if there's not an event and some people are
right. So they're going to kind of revive that and just kind of get back to what it was is what the vibe they were giving me. So,
Paolo, have you heard about any other changes they're planning?
No, I mean, I've heard the same thing, that they want to keep the spirit of the Mercury Cafe alive, which I'll note is something that Danny Newman said when he took over the Merc in 2021.
Yes.
So we are in a bit of a time loop situation, so only time will tell if it goes the way of Danny Newman's ownership or if it will truly revive the spirit of Maryland.
Yeah, well, let me put my finger directly on the tension there, because what Danny told me is that he was looking for a buyer because this business is failing. It has failed. The Mercury did not work in this neighborhood at this time. It was not doing enough business for him to be able to pay the staff the way he wanted to. They weren't making money. He had some other things going on in his personal life, and it became necessary to sell. So I think this gets to the same problem that kind of Casa Bonita has had. You know, the South Park guys come in, they want to change nothing and improve everything. How do you improve something without changing it? Is it murals? Is it a new menu? Is it what could they improve to maybe make this a more viable business to keep it around?
I don't know. I mean, the thing that they told me that you kind of touched on, Paolo, was that because I was asking them about the union members.
Yes, we need to talk about that.
And one of the things they stressed to me was they were like, you know what? The Merc is no longer. They were like, this business doesn't exist anymore. This business is now the Pearl. And they're like, you know, whether or not you have feelings about it, the union died with the Merc. They were like, that was the union for that business, and that business doesn't exist anymore starting at the end of this month. So, you know, I think they want to keep those events, but they're saying fresh start.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let me catch people up on the union fight. This is something we've been watching, Paolo, you've been reporting on for the last couple of years. Some of the staffers that worked at the Mercury Cafe when Danny Newman bought the place a few years ago, they came to him. They wanted to have a little bit more of a leadership role in managing this place. There was some tension. It didn't work out. They unionized. Now some of those people don't work there, and they have continued to how Danny would say, make trouble for him. Like they've been calling for boycotts. They've been going back and forth on contracts. The other staffers at the Mercury Cafe that are technically part of the union apparently don't like the people who are leading the union anymore.
They do not.
Yeah, tell us about the dynamics there, Paolo, and what have you heard around this transition?
So when the Mercury Cafe was sold a couple of days ago, I got on the phone with Anthony Scorzo, who's the president of the union that the Mercury Cafe workers organized under, and I think he made it clear this is not a common problem. Like this is a very complicated issue. The way this union is organized and the way it has progressed is very, very unorthodox. It's super confusing. So bear with me. When they unionized, they voted to unionize with pretty slim margins. So I believe it was 10 employees of the 16 cast ballots. Of those 10 employees, 8 of them voted for a union. So really, if you look at all the employees eligible for a union, about half of them wanted it. It was really slim. 80% of the voters cast ballots, so they got the union. But if it was the full staff, I don't think they would have gotten it.
Have you heard from the people who are leading the union about the transition?
Yeah, I have. I spoke to Anthony Scorzo. I talked to Anna McGee, who was one of the founding organizers of the union. They were blindsided. They hadn't heard about it. And they've been fighting to negotiate that contract for months, for years even. And they were really hopeful that it would eventually happen. I don't think it was ever heading that way without federal government intervention. So they're a little disappointed. I asked both of them if this was the time to maybe move on, to maybe stop. But Anthony said he's going to be exploring legal avenues because he still thinks that Danny Newman and the Mercury Cafe should be held accountable, that they should negotiate the contract that they are legally mandated to negotiate. And Anna McGee, she said she's in between jobs. I don't think she would say no to a job at Pearl Divers, or the Pearl rather. And I asked her if it was a good time to move on, and she said no. She wants to keep fighting for workers' rights. I was actually talking to her while she was on her way to a press conference on the tip minimum wage bill.
Interesting.
So I don't think this is – I think it's over in one way, but I don't think we've heard the last of this union.
Interesting. That is intriguing.
What I'm confused about with this is that from when I was talking to, the Pearl people, it sounded like that a lot of the workers from the Merc are going to be transferred over to the new place. So how's that going to work with the union tension?
Well, I think it's the LLC thing because the Merc is being sunset. That business is not going to exist anymore.
Right.
So they're making a whole new business. And what I read was, maybe this is in the Denver Post, maybe this is your reporting, Paolo, was that the Pearl people were giving the current employees first preference for being rehired. So it's not like it's the same job technically by the law. It's a new job, new business, new company that happens to be leasing a space in a building that Danny Newman and his partners own. Okay. And Danny's comment on the whole union thing is They can talk to the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, all they want. They can sue me if they want, but they're not going to wrench the Mercury Cafe back into existence. That business has failed.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when and if the NLRB votes on this. But this is a Trump administration NLRB. It's already been gutted a little bit. He's cut one of the board members. Oh
my God, can you imagine Trump in the Mercury Cafe? Just that image just popped into my mind.
It would be like that picture of Hillary Clinton in an apartment. Like, look at it. Ooh.
Looks sapphic.
Yeah, the thing that's like, I don't know, I just want to note is like when I was talking to the Pearl people I like that I'm the Pearl people. I don't know, it's catchy. But they said, they were like, in the future, we're not saying that we're like opposed to, a union or anything like that. But, right now, obviously, we're day 2. When I was talking to them, they're like, we're day 2.
Yeah, their priority needs to be figuring out how to make the business work.
People are going off on us on Instagram and stuff. We got the keys today. So we're trying to, get the doors open and figure this out. So like, no, this isn't our top priority right now. We're trying to figure out, how we're going to get this open, how we're going to pay people, how we're going to do all this. So like, no, we're not saying no, but like, we got to figure this out first. So
Dom Garcia did tell me that they are pro-union.
Yeah.
One of the things they said in their announcement letter is that they wanted to build, it was a promise really, they wanted to build a cooperative, sustainable workplace for all. So, that to me is a dog whistle for pro-union, but we'll see. Yeah. Danny Newman also said he was pro-union.
Yeah, Danny would say the same, but he also, apparently what the union was asking for was like a $28 minimum wage, 30 days of paid vacation, 100% set schedules. These are irregular asks for this particular industry.
Yeah.
But let me ask you one last question here, Paolo, before we move on, because I'm just curious about the response. The Mercury Cafe has a 50-year history. People remember seeing shows there. They Might Be Giants, Blind Melon for years and years. People love this place. This is a special place. What has the response been to your reporting that you've seen from people about how they feel about this news?
I think I've seen a lot of sadness. When I came out with that big, long story about the labor dispute at the Mercury Cafe in December, I saw a lot of people, mad at the union, mad at Danny Newman. There was just a lot of mad to be thrown around. And I think that's because at the core of this issue, the Mercury Cafe as a business was failing. Now you can blame the union, you can blame Danny Newman, you can blame Marilyn Magennity for selling it to Danny.
The neighborhood,
but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Mercury Cafe was failing as a business, and you can argue today, as the Pearl is waiting to take over, that the Mercury Cafe did fail. It's closing. I would say that is a failure of a business, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I'm not the only one. I think that'll be wishing these new owners a lot of luck. I hope they figure something out there that works, and I hope it can click and they can succeed and then buy the building from Danny. I know he would love that. He's hoping to get out of this thing. And we also want to hear from you. Listeners, I know there's people out there that have strong feelings about this place and maybe have feelings about the new owners, this new era of what was once the Mercury Cafe. So call in, let us know how you feel. Give us your name, give us your neighborhood, and give us your take on the Merc. 720-500-5418. Again, 720-500-5418. We're going to take a break right now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about one of Olivia's favorite things.
No.
This episode is brought to you by 5280 Magazine. Calling all Denver area brunch lovers, 5280 Magazine's annual brunch event is just a few weeks away. Have you bought your tickets yet? The 5280 brunch event is on Saturday, March 29th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Asterisk in Rhino. Guests will be treated to an afternoon jam-packed with sweet and savory brunch menus from editor-picked restaurants, plus tasty beverages including zero-proof options, a build-your-own Bloody Mary station, a dynamic DJ set from DJ Mr. Groove, and so much more. Seriously, have you read any of 5280's food coverage? These people know brunch. And they know that brunch is best enjoyed with friends. That's why they have a specially priced group ticket option for groups of 4 or more. Simply choose the GA ticket type Brunch Crew to redeem. Get your tickets now at 5280.com and tell them Bree sent you. Mimosas.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
All right, we're back. Our hot topic today, pharmacies. This week's news that the pharmacy giant Walgreens is being acquired by a big private equity firm is merely the latest potential upheaval for Denverites who rely on in-person pharmaceutical services. Big chains and independent operators alike have been struggling, and many have been closing for good. Paolo has been reporting on all sides of this, but Olivia, my first question for you. Do you know anyone that likes their pharmacy?
I mean, people on commercials seem to like their pharmacy.
They sure do.
So
Go in there, waltz through the aisles, grab a
they're
bag
like
of
picking,
pistachios.
picking up Walgreens brand Wallaton.
Yeah.
Claritin.
Smile while shaking the hand
Yeah,
of
they
your
look really
lab coat
happy.
man.
So I would say them.
I guess them. Paolo, there is a problem, though. What is the problem?
I mean, there are two problems. A couple Walgreens in Denver are closing or have closed. I forget.
The one near me just closed on Evans and Monica. Yeah, the people on next door are upset.
A lot of people are upset. Whenever, Walgreens announces closures, we get emails. And I was like, I didn't realize I actually love Walgreens.
Really?
When I was a college kid, I relied on my now wife for transportation to grocery stores. And then when she went to study abroad, I was stranded. But there was a Walgreens within walking distance. So I went there and I pick up my stupid shelf-stable bread, Spam, whatever, and I'd go to the cash register with my stupid assortment of items, and the cash register guy would be like, they're groceries exist, right? We're a Walgreens.
And you'd pay $400 for 3 items.
There was a giant premium on everything.
Yeah.
My Oreos would be $2 more than what it would be at Safeway or something.
But that's an interesting part of what Walgreens has done with their business model. I mean, we can start on that more big corporate side because Olivia and I, we both listened to this interesting episode of The Journal podcast from the Wall Street Journal about why Walgreens has kind of gone down the tubes last few years. But I guess their CEO had really prioritized those front of store food offerings like the snacks and stuff versus the pharmacy because the margins are so small on the medicine.
Yeah, he was more stuff in the store.
I guess I don't really understand why that business in the back is so hard.
I mean, I can tell you.
Yeah.
I can tell you why some people think it is. So the second problem that I was alluding to was that independent pharmacies are also having a tough time. So I don't know, real quick, do you know of any independent pharmacies in Denver, aside from the one that I know you're
Literally
gonna say?
only the one in your story.
Union Square Pharmacy in Belmar.
Okay, Olivia's got one. She's got her fave. But tell us why they're failing.
Well, I talked to a pharmacy owner in Capitol Heights, or Congress Park, rather, and she was telling me that it was pharmacy benefit managers. Now, I barely go to the doctor. I go once a year. I rarely have to pick up medicine. So do you guys
Weird
know?
flex.
I'm weird. I'm the perfect human, Olivia. What can I say?
Wow.
So pharmacy benefit managers, who are these people?
They are basically the middleman between your pharmacy, insurance, and pharmaceutical companies. So they are this kind of man behind the curtain negotiating prices. And the reason whenever you pick up medicine, are you always like, why does it cost so much money to pick up this simple steroid cream? It's the pharmacy benefit managers. They set the prices. And while pharmacy benefit managers and their supporters, and there aren't a lot of them, but Olivia, did you know about pharmacy benefit managers? Because I didn't before I started reporting on this.
I only knew about it from this podcast we listened to.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Walgreens, I guess, had a bad deal with one 10 years ago. They got shafted on this deal and then couldn't make money in the back.
Yeah, so that's basically what pharmacies are saying. They're saying pharmacy benefit managers have way too much power. They're setting the prices. The independent pharmacist I talked to, Kristen Holmes, she showed me a receipt. It cost her $9 to buy the medication that patient needed. But the patient was billed $62, I believe. So, $9, $62 to pay for it. Of that $62, a majority of it went back to the pharmacy benefit managers and the insurers. And Kristen Holmes only kept about $1 of that. So a $9 medication, $64 to the patient, $1 or so to Kristen Holmes. So
Wow.
It's just not very profitable.
A customer comes in, They're spending $62 and the pharmacy owner gets $1.
Yep. The pharmacy owner who does most of the work. They have to, I don't know really what goes on behind the counter, but they have to cut up the medicine. They have to, put it in the bottles. They have to give you instructions on how to use it. They're the resource if it goes wrong, or, if you want some more instructions or you want to pull back your dosage. So they're doing a lot of the work, but they're not getting a lot of the profit.
Well, that sucks.
It does seem to suck. Well, why would they say, what's their argument, their value that they would say that they're providing? Because I'm sure they're making a case for their own existence.
PBMs or?
Yeah, PBMs.
I mean, they say that they bring down prices for customers, but I think all of us in this room can say, we pay a lot for like random medication. Like I said, I don't go to the pharmacy very often, but when I have to get antibiotics, I have to spend like $20, $30, and it seems a run-of-the-mill antibiotic. It's not something targeted towards a very specific sickness. It's like a sinus infection or, bronchitis or something like that. I pay a lot of money for my medication. I feel like it's only gotten up. And, I pay a lot of money for my insurance too. So at the end of the day, what am I paying for? Am I paying for the medication? Am I paying for the PBM to put kickbacks towards the insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess they would say negotiate on your behalf with the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah. Are
they negotiating the wrong way?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, this is one of the many confusing parts of the American healthcare system.
It's so confusing. I still, I've had my own insurance for 4 or 5 years now. I still really don't understand it, and I've reported on it all the time. And every time I have to sit down and do a new story on the health insurance industry, I'm shocked. I find out like facets that I've never learned about. I found out about like different corners of the world that like sketch me out a little. And I'll say this, this discourse about pharmacy benefit managers is happening while we're seeing maybe the most anti-health insurance movement in the U.S. Of course, you have people like Bernie Sanders who are constantly against the health insurance industry. But then, in December, we saw a health insurance CEO get assassinated, allegedly assassinated, I should say. So there's a lot of anger towards the system. And I think, Kristen Holmes said pharmacy benefit managers are the ones to blame for this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. I'm on the opposite end of you. I am at the pharmacy all the time. I take a lot of medications, and I am just so freaking fed up with Walgreens and all of them. It's just ridiculous to me. Like, for instance, I have this one medication I take that's like, it's a nasal spray for like when I have a migraine, and I use one per migraine, and they only come in a container of 6. So I can have 6 migraines, and they cost $75.
Oh my God.
For 6 migraines.
For a 6-pack, wow.
Yeah. So, and then like, that's with insurance. So then like, I don't know. It's like, and then I go to my doctor, and in order to get the price down, like I literally cried at my doctor, and they gave me a manufacturer's coupon to get like $20 off. Mm-hmm. So that's like the system we have.
There's coupons for this like essential medicine.
There was a coupon for me to have, and they didn't just give it to me. I had to cry to get it. Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous. And then the like, I don't know, the really messed up part is like, I'm at Walgreens getting this medication, and they're like, do you know this medication costs $75? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, do you still want it? And I'm like, I have to have it. Yes, I still
need it.
I'm like, yeah, I still want it. Like, yes. So it's just like this system is so weird and like jacked up.
I know it's probably glib, but like I've said this before, like healthcare is just one of those things that like doesn't fit with capitalism very well.
Yeah. Well,
like when you make it about money and people's health, it just like there's going to be problems. And
I mean, it seems to work really well for this country.
Yeah.
It seems like they're making a lot of money.
Some people are making a lot of money.
It seems like they're making a crap ton of money, and seems like they're really profiting on it.
Yeah, which is why these regulations are the way they are. But the regulations are the interesting thing to me. Like the pharmacy benefit managers, the way that they have this like place that I guess they're allowed to do this or they have to do this, like the independent pharmacist, there's no other option. Like they have to work with these people, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that's part of the detriment. So I don't know if the Wall Street Journal talked about this in their podcast, but some PBMs are like part of pharmacy companies. So CVS, I believe, has a PBM that is like part of their company. And that PBM sometimes if that PBM is the one that negotiates with your insurance company, that PBM allegedly makes it easier for you to get your medication, easier and cheaper to get your medication at CVS instead of independent pharmacies. So what Kristen and a lot of independent pharmacies are saying is that PBMs are like driving business towards the companies that they're affiliated with. It's like if CVS, it made a monopoly and made it easier for customers to come to them. They're basically saying, hey, I have this medication that you need. I'm going to make it $10 cheaper for you to come to us instead of going to your incredible independent pharmacist.
I mean, it makes sense. The bigger buyer, more reliable. That makes money sense to me. But it does. I can see how it would hurt these independent pharmacists that presumably some people love. I mean, I looked at the Yelp reviews. The one you talked about, Capitol Heights Pharmacy, phenomenal. Very impressive Yelp rating, 4.4 stars.
Yeah, and
Walgreens, not good.
2 stars maybe?
Maybe. The best location of Walgreens is the one on the 16th Street Mall.
Because it's got sushi.
Wait, the best?
Well, they got the highest rating.
Because they have a sushi bar.
2.8 stars on average, but all the other ones in the metro are like maybe 2, 1.8, 1.5. People don't like Walgreens.
Yeah, I can see why people like Capitol Heights Pharmacy, because when I called them asking for an interview, I didn't get sent to that robocaller get when you go to like Walgreens or CVS or Safeway. I pressed press 1 to talk to a pharmacist. I pressed 1. I was talking to Kristen Holmes, who owns the place. So, if you're a customer, if you have questions about your medication, she is one little call away. And that's
jazz
crazy.
Music on the Walgreens hotline is just. But no, I went to the independent pharmacy I mentioned, Union Square.
Belmar?
Yeah, Union Square Pharmacy. I went there. It was really nice. I went there to pick up a medicine for my cat because they also have cat medicine there. And they were super nice and it was quick. It was really kind of awkward though because they're like, "Do you have any questions? Do you want to talk to the pharmacist about your medication?" And I was like, "My cat can't talk." And I was like, also like it's chicken flavored, so like it's gonna be really awkward if we like have this. I was like, "No, like it's chicken flavored. Like this is weird." But the problem, which like now I'm so fed up with Walgreens. Like do not get me started on Walgreens. But like the thing I'm seeing with a small business like this is their hours aren't great. The hours aren't great at this place. They're open 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, closed on Sundays, only open 9 to 12 on Saturdays.
It's like banks. When am I supposed to go to the bank?
That's not great for someone who works like, a desk job, but here's the thing. Walgreens, the Walgreens by my house in Lakewood has started cutting their hours. They're only open from like 8 to 6 and then they're closed on weekends. So I'm like, okay, well, now you're not really much better than the freaking small pharmacy. The whole point of you being a conglomerate was that I was supposed to be able to go through the drive-through.
Yeah.
The whole thing was like, you started in 1901 and you revolutionized the pharmacy drive-through. Well, it's never freaking open. And it takes like 15 minutes for someone to talk to me at the drive-through. And then the intercom doesn't even work. So I have to yell through the like hole that they put the medicine in. And then it's not even open. So I might as well go to the small pharmacy where people are going to be nice to me and not act like I just ruined their day by asking for medication I need.
Yeah, it seems like maybe like the independents, like they're working against a lot. They got a tough road. And it feels like maybe Walgreens, relative to some of the other big chains, has some specific problems just to the way that they've run their business. Feels like maybe the bigger corporate chains are going to win out here in this like pharmacy tumult. But the PBMs, I want to ask you one more question, Paolo, because you reported on this bill at the state legislature. There's some proposal to change how it works. Like, is that going to be a big change? Do you think what are people actually going to feel? I
mean, the changes are rather nebulous. I read through the bill text and there wasn't anything super concrete. It was mostly saying, PBMs can't do this, they can't do this. But it will essentially increase oversight of the PBM industry. It will ban a couple ways that PBMs can do business. I know that it says something like they can't make money in a certain way. They have to, negotiate in a certain way. So a lot of people are for that bill. Kristen Holmes, the Independent Pharmacy Association, the Colorado Pharmacy Society, Even there was even a PBM in support of it, actually, because they were touting themselves as an ethical PBM, and they were saying this is possible. A lot of people hate PBMs, but they don't hate us because we're an ethical one. So
I feel like when people call themselves ethical, whatever, it's like, like why do you have to call yourself ethical? Question.
But the people who were against the bill included the Colorado Chamber of Commerce, a lot of the lobbyists for PBMs, and a lot of lobbyists for health insurance companies. So
that tells you a little bit about
take that
where
as
the
you
power
will.
lies.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, pharmacies, interesting world. Lots of change happening across the city. And like with the Merc, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about your pharmacy. Are you worried about it closing? Or do you hate Walgreens as much as Olivia? 720-500-5418. That's the number to call. One more break, and we'll be back with Wins and Fails.
Want a website with unmatched power, speed, and control? Try Bluehost Cloud, the new web hosting plan from Bluehost, built for WordPress creators by WordPress experts. With 100% uptime, incredible load times, and 24/7 WordPress priority support, your sites will be lightning fast with global reach. And with Bluehost Cloud, your sites can handle surges in traffic no matter how big. Plus, you automatically get daily backups and world-class security. Get started now at Bluehost.com.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
All right, we're back. Best way to end the week. It's time for Rocky Mountain Highs and Lows, a.k.a. our wins and fails of the week. Each of us brought a recent local something we think is a win and another we think is a fail for Denver. And we're going to talk about them. And we're going to do fails first so we can end on wins. Olivia, your fail of the week.
All right.
Yes.
My fail.
Yes.
A Venezuelan migrant got 17 years in prison this week for large-scale theft in Castle Rock. The fail here, he stole $18,000 worth of sunglasses from the Sunglasses Hut. What? There's
$18,000?
18,000.
How many sunglasses would that be?
Good question.
Maybe he got a pair of those new Meta Ray-Bans with the
Do they have those at the
UI?
Sunglass Hut?
I don't know.
Honestly, every time I've seen a Sunglass Hut, I've walked by it because I'm like, what? I don't know. I just can't bring it's too white in there. I can't bring myself to go in there. Also, another note from his heist, $22,000 almost at K Jewelers, presumably on heart-shaped jewelry.
Okay.
Because what else do you buy at K Jewelers? So just like a lot of, all of this heist was at the mall.
He went to the mall.
Yeah, David Yurman too. Spent a lot there.
Which mall? Cherry Creek?
I think it was in Castle Rock. So,
Okay.
But yeah,
Interesting.
so $22K at K Jewelers, almost $20K at Sunglasses Hut. So getting some gifts, maybe getting some heart-shaped jewelry, some sunglasses. So that's the fail here. Is that's what you decided to steal?
What would you steal, Olivia?
Other
Well,
than from
From the mall.
Walgreens.
From the mall.
from the mall, probably like the cars that are parked in it. Like I want something like big. I want to, if I'm going to do a heist, like, cause he was doing I'm pretty sure there's like footage of this guy.
I don't. Heist implies like it was cool, like Ocean's 11. I think he was just going in and be like,
But if
sunglasses.
Smash and grab.
I mean,
Yeah.
if he stole $18,000 worth of sunglasses, like that wasn't subtle. You know, that had to be more than a couple pairs.
I do, yeah.
So
Well,
I think if I was going to do something large scale like that, I would just take the car out of the middle
That's
and like
that's
drive
smart.
it away.
Yeah.
That would get me attention.
You would get caught.
Not if it was a fast car.
How would you get out of the mall?
Bust through the glass doors.
Well, this is certainly a fail.
This is the fail.
I think it's funny that you think it's funny. And Paolo, what is your fail?
Mine's also mall focused.
Oh, great.
Apparently, employees at the Cherry Creek Mall have to pay $260 a year to pay for parking at the mall now.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm
What?
sure people are very upset. I mean, a few years ago when they did paid parking for just like folks who are shopping, the whole city was,
Wait,
it was
the
a
people
whole
who
thing.
This
work
is at
there
Cherry
have to
Creek.
pay?
The people who work there, the people who are handing out pretzels and Haagen-Dazs and whatever, have to pay I will note, less than $1 a day for parking. So what's the point, really? But
That is interesting.
fail part 2 is that the mall is just empty. I went there at like
Yeah.
7:30 on Friday.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted Haagen-Dazs, and they have a Haagen-Dazs.
They do, yeah.
I don't know why I wanted
You
Haagen-Dazs.
pop into Lids?
No, I didn't.
That's my shop.
a Cookie Monster
Every time I go to
snapback?
the mall, I always walk into Lids, see what's new.
Yeah, it was just empty, and I attribute that to the fact that it doesn't have a video game store.
Oh.
Because I would go every day if it did.
You don't see a lot of good video games. Like the GameStop by Barnes & Noble on Colorado.
I like that because it's
okay.
nice and spacious, but I do like level 7 games on Alameda.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah,
That's the one.
there's one of those. By
Good
me.
pick, Paolo. All right, my fail. My fail is a business story. It comes to us from Business Den. It is that the biggest and at one time most promising plant-based protein company that Colorado ever produced, Meaty, that's MEATI, could shut down soon. It seems as though the CEO has told his staff last week that they do not have enough money to operate through May 6th of this year, despite raising $100 million last year. They built a giant, what they called a mega ranch in Thornton, so that could shut down, and like all 150 workers could be laid off. So this is a fail, and also a fail, I guess, for the whole plant-based protein fad, which I predicted on the show a few years ago this was not going to go well. And
PK Lock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, when I want to cook vegan, I don't ever buy the Beyond Meat or anything. I just, cook vegetables.
it's
I
just-
know why it
it's over.
failed though.
Tell me.
Because it's called meaty.
It's not a good name.
Is
If
it meaty
you're-
with an I, right?
Yeah, but like if you don't want to eat meat, why would you want to buy a product called meaty?
Well, that's the thing.
Gross.
The sales pitch for these companies was always for meat eaters. It was never, they were never targeting vegetarians or vegans. It was always like, hey, meat eaters, we got something that is almost exactly like the thing you like.
Yeah. Yeah, all my
But it's
vegan friends
mushrooms.
would never get the meat alternatives.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, just beans have protein in it. Just cook beans.
Yeah, just like tofu. Weird.
Tofu.
Weird. Well,
Anyway, it was once a very promising company, and it seems like it is going to be no longer soon. They used to have these meaty chicken cutlets at Bird Call.
huh.
Haven't
Well,
tried in a while.
New Spirit Halloween location coming soon.
I guess so.
The ranch.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to wins. A win of the week. Paolo, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think my win is a little late, but my colleagues at Indy 102.3. Denver is part of Colorado Public Radio, and Indy is also part of Colorado Public Radio. I think they're just doing great work right now. I think they're launching a lot of cool programs. They have a lot of great relationships with local musicians. I was at 303 Day in Rhino last week, and like,
I was sad to miss that. That was at the number 38, right?
yeah, or 39. I forget. It's a weird name.
One of those numbers.
But they're doing great work.
They're doing great work. There a couple of the DJs were there, Alicia Sweeney and God, I'm forgetting the other DJ there, but everyone would go up to them. Dana Myers is who I was thinking of. Everyone would go up to them and like want to give them hugs, say they're a big fan. Like a mother and her young daughter came up to our booth, and like Alicia or Dana were like, "Oh, our mega fans!" Apparently, they go out to every event, and this is like a 6-year-old girl who's like,
Wow.
being introduced to the local music scene. So I think they're just fostering a lot of good relationships in the community, and they're more on the ground than a lot of the reporters.
Wow. Great win.
I love listening to them.
Yeah, is that your station?
Yeah.
I don't listen to CPR. Oh, should I say that on radio? I listen to indie. I don't listen to NPR. I listen to indie.
102.3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Olivia, how about you? What's your win?
Wednesday was the 35th anniversary of the Capitol Crawl, where
Capitol Crawl.
where people with disabilities marched from the White House to the Capitol to demand Congress pass the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so, like, at the end of that crawl, a lot of the people in that march put down their mobility aids and crawled up the steps of the Capitol as like an act of protest. And the youngest one of those people was an 8-year-old girl. And so this was just the 35th anniversary. And I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't like have gotten to where I am in life without the Americans with Disabilities Act. And a lot of that stuff is like, under threat right now. So I think it's just really important that we like celebrate and remember. And Denver has a really big role in like disability activism history. So, it's cool to like remember that and be thankful that people before us did that shit. So
Sure, yeah. If you're not familiar, Google the Gang of 19
yeah.
is the story here. All about Colfax and the 15 bus. Great Great win, Olivia. Thank you. Well, I will go. I will close us out with some very exciting news for those of us who remember this place from road trips from our childhood. There will be a Cracker Barrel opening soon in Denver. It is coming to Central Park, not Park Hill, as was reported, but it's going to be opening. I was curious about this because Cracker Barrel, which is this like crazy stereotype of like a Southern style restaurant. Have either of you been to a Cracker Barrel?
Never.
Oh,
really? Okay.
Yeah.
You got to go when this
Kansas,
place opens.
Of course I've been to a Cracker Barrel.
How would you describe it, Olivia?
Dumplings.
Dumplings? Big over the top. They've got like a general store where you can get like games and like.
It's cute. The general store is cute. Also, if you like dish towels that say stuff on them.
What stuff?
Like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. That's where you get it, girl.
Yeah, but Cracker Barrel is fun. I mean, I remember I have such good memories of like road trip lunches, chicken fried steak, big pile of mashed potatoes, stewed apples.
Sit on those rocking chairs outside.
Oh, the rocking chairs.
This is a world
The entire front porch of Cracker Barrel, like it's iconic. There is always a front porch on these buildings, and they always are lined with like 20 rocking chairs, and at least half of them are usually full at any given time.
I need to go. There are a lot of like classic American fast food places I need to go.
It's a very large menu as well, and they're like little games at the tables.
That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. This is where I learned the word ignoramus. Is because one of their little games is like, if you don't score good enough, you're an ignoramus. And I was like, what is that, Mom? What does that word mean?
Nice. Wow. Cracker Barrel educating the youth.
Central Park. And I thought it was kind of weird it was going to open in the city because normally it's out on highways, but it's this. If you look up the location over in Central Park, it's right off I-70 in that like office park area with the floor and decor. And I don't know. I feel like it's going to be, I'm wishing the best for them.
Honestly, the city would be kind of iconic though. The rocking chairs.
Oh my God.
16th Street Mall.
If they just
bring the Cracker Barrel to
16th Street Mall, add some bottomless mimosas, I'm there. I'm there every weekend.
Well, those are our wins and fails, and that's the show. Olivia, Paolo, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you next time, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Lizzie Goldsmith, Olivia Jewel Love, and me, Paul Caroli. Adrian Gonzalez, Francisco Kilgore, and Peyton Garcia write our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. Bree Davies is our host, and will return next week. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell your pharmacist about us the next time you see him. You can sign up for that daily newsletter I mentioned and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week. Fine? A little too Ray Romano? Why?